Hi, I'm Dale LePage.
Hi, I'm Doreen Goodrich.
Welcome to New England Pride TV.
Tune in, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. New England pride.
And now it's time for our Pride Pet segment. The Animal Shelter in Sterling Incorporated of Sterling, Massachusetts is a non-profit organization formed in 1988. The shelter is a no-kill animal shelter with no time or age restrictions, and they provide humane sheltering and high-quality medical care for stray, unwanted, abused, and neglected animals, and to find loving, lifelong homes for orphaned pets.
The staff at the Sterling Animal Shelter is dedicated to finding good homes for adoptable pets and to continue to promote responsible pet ownership. The shelter is located at 17 Laurelwood Road in Sterling, Massachusetts, and the phone number is 978-422-8585.
New England Pride TV is brought to you by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Doframe, Boston Wedding Photographer, Paul Chasen Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, Fallon Health, The Queen's Cups, Escape Games Worcester, Art Reach, Electric Haze, Bull Mansion, Ellie's Pet Barn, and Hanmi Taekwondo Center.
We are here on New England Pride TV with Doreen Goodrich. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so happy to be sitting across from you. Now, Doreen was the winning bid for our co-host of the month prize we had at a fundraiser. And thank you for bidding, by the way.
My goodness, I thought I was just going to write my name, I would win the bid, and I would be sitting here co-hosting with you. And I would go over, there would be someone else's name. I'm like, who's bidding against me? This is my thing right here. This is what I'm doing. So, but it was such an important event to raise money for such a good cause.
It was a fun event, wasn't it?
It was. It was so much fun.
Now, when I put the co-host position as a prize at the silent auction, I literally was filled with anxiety because I thought to myself, who the hell would even want to be a co-host on the show? Like, why is this even a prize, right? But thankfully,
I don't even know if you know what a celebrity you are.
Oh, no. There's no such thing.
Like, people look up to you and the work you do. Like, it's just you are a gift. I have to tell you a corny little story. I do.
I love corn.
A corny little story.
Right.
Are you familiar with the movie As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt?
Right? Yeah.
And so I think I do a lot.
Yeah.
My goodness.
You do a lot.
Yeah, but I do nothing. You volunteer so much of your time to so many good causes. And I sit there and I watch Dale, and I thought of that little scene in the movie where Jack Nicholson is talking to Helen Hunt, and he says to her, "You make me want to be a better man. And you make me want to be a better woman." You do. As much as I do, I feel like I don't hold a candle to you.
I was going to tell you to stop talking about this until you said that, because that means a lot. Thank you.
It's so important that we use our voice that we have.
Let's talk about you.
Okay.
Enough about me.
Okay.
Really, seriously.
All right, just for a minute.
All right. So you do so much. I know a little bit about what you do. Mm-hmm. You are on, first of all, you're on the Democratic State Committee?
Yes, I'm a Democratic State Committee for the 2nd Worcester District.
And you work with Senator Michael Moore?
I do. My official title is Director of Constituent Services for Senator Michael Moore. Yep.
And you are a selectman?
I am
in your town?
the chairman of the Board of Selectmen in the town of Auburn.
The chairman?
Yes, several years.
Sounds very fancy.
I know.
How many years?
I've been on the board for 10 years.
Wait a minute. Did this just happen last year?
It did in May. Remember, I had a tough election. Well,
A tough
it appeared
election.
to be a tough election.
If I'm recalling correctly, you won by a landslide. Am I recalling that?
I think it was 2-1. Yes.
2-1. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
But I worked for it.
You mean
I
it was
worked for
like 2 million to 1? Is that what you mean?
I worked for it.
You did work for it,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I did everything you need to do to respect the voters.
And
so.
you do so much. You are somebody who is an ally to the LGBT community.
Yeah.
And this show is not just about the LGBTQ community. It's also about its allies. And I'm thrilled that we received a letter from a mother of 3 children who watches the show. None of her children are even from the community. She just watches it to be informed. And I was like, wow.
Well, people ask me, why are you so involved? None of your children are in the
there you
community.
go.
You know, no one in your immediate family. Who would think in 2018 that this is even an issue we have to address?
People would,
Who would think, But
Yeah.
I always, kind of bring it back to my democratic values. It's,
Right, equality for everyone.
We share the same phrase.
Yeah.
We have no tolerance for intolerance.
Oh, that is very true.
And I try to live my life by that. And if there's an issue that I have to work on, it's like intolerance.
Absolutely. I think we all need to.
Yeah.
Um,
But again, it's hard to believe in 2018 that people can't just live their lives who they are and just go on with their lives. Why can't we just be who we are without worrying about going into the community and wondering like who's looking at me, who's criticizing me, who's judging me, how it's going to affect me in my job interview, how it's going to affect me in the break room,
Right.
how it's going to affect me in an election.
Right.
People, it's 2018. Let's get over ourselves.
Wake up. One of the things that we were discussing about in the pre-interview was how we deal with, I'm going to call it hate mail.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times, if there's 30 people saying like, good going, thank you for what you do, that one person who's like,
Yep, that's the one you remember.
That's the one you remember out of, so if I normally don't respond to them, but I've just started responding like, okay, I'll take care of my life, you take care of yours, I'll do me, you do you. Yeah.
And I agree with you because you put something out there, and so people who might, because you've opened up a subject matter,
Right.
people might put themselves out there too, and you want to be responsive to them, and you don't want them to think you're not being responsive to
Right.
them. But then again, back to those negative comments, like I said, especially as an elected official.
Now,
my goodness.
because tell me about that.
Well, it's just, especially being a female elected. By the way, I'm the only female on the Board of Selectmen. So, women
Really?
in Auburn, let's
That does-
think about stepping up.
Yeah, that is
I'm
interesting.
the only female on the Auburn Board of Selectmen. But
So all the constituents, they call you.
yeah, but people.
That's an important job.
It is. But when it comes time for election time, people just write nasty stuff. If they can't debate you on the issues or they can't find something to
right.
say, then they criticize your smile.
They go right
criticize
to
your
it,
hair.
yeah.
They criticize as an almost 60-year-old woman. They criticize your weight, what you wear.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's 2018. We should be past it. They would never criticize a man for what he wears.
Probably not.
No, they
No?
wouldn't go after a man's family.
So you've had those comments.
I have, yeah.
And what do you say? Do you respond to those at all?
I don't. And actually, during campaign time, I don't even read them because it can just throw you off your game.
It can throw you off your game.
Absolutely.
Right. It can put you in a tailspin.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So you just can't read
No,
them.
you can't. And we all know the phrase today, keyboard courage.
Keyboard. Right.
People, keyboard courage. Would you say that to someone's face? If you criticize, especially someone in your community, would you say that to their face?
Right.
We have to, we have to start calling people out on that. We have to, just
Right.
make people stop
Well-
and think when they write that nasty
Yep.
comment to you,
Yep.
would they say that to your face?
Right.
Because they're the cowards.
I literally said this maybe a couple of weeks ago. I said, if you're sending me hate mail, make no mistake about it. I will take a screen capture and I will post
for
it
you.
on all my social media, including your name.
Good for
You're fully warned now.
Yeah.
I won't. I will call you out on it.
Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Good for you.
I'm-
We need to stop this. We're in such a bad place in this country where people
Right.
just have no filter.
Right.
I guess it's okay to hate today.
It's the
It's-
freedom to hate was
Yeah.
the Pandora's box kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry to say this.
What?
We're out of time.
Are we really?
Can you believe that?
No, my goodness. I think
know.
we could talk for like 2 hours
I know.
and not even touch on the issues.
Well, we're going to have another interview with you probably in the upcoming season, maybe season 6, because we're going to be talking about doing a special show. I'm not sure how we're going to do this yet, but about anxieties, dealing with anxieties, all right?
I would love to be a guest.
All right.
I don't know if you've seen my bracelet. She believed she could, so
So
she
she
did.
did. All right. Well, I believe you can.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be
Thanks.
back with more New England Pride TV right after this.
Hey Dale, it's me, Miss Lady Sabrina, and we're back with another letter. Well, the letter today had some personal things in it, so I'm not going to read the letter, but I will give you kind of a little synopsis on what it was. It's about someone who is constantly kind of picking the wrong person, you know, like picking people of a specific ilk. So we're going to talk about that for a minute, all right? So here we go. One of the things that you have to worry about when you're dating is picking, you know, people who fall in a certain category, like needing to be saved or emotionally unavailable. Now, we'll do the emotionally unavailable one because that seems to be the one that's most prevalent. Usually when you pick someone who's emotionally unavailable, you're trying to correct something. Like when you were a kid, that generally means that you weren't like attached, or one of your parents weren't attached to you specifically. So, you know, because kids don't function in reality, they function in emotion. And so kids generally think that everything that happens in their world is a result of something that they did. So children, when a parent like doesn't attach to you, feel like there was something wrong with them. And then they kind of take that into the dating world. And then they move past emotion and then into logic. Once you move into logic without addressing the emotional, you kind of get emotionally stuck. So what happens is you wind up dating emotionally unavailable people, very similar to the people that you grew up with. Could be mom, could be dad, could be either. And what that generally means is that you are trying to correct something internally on an emotional level, which is why you date someone like that. Because if you can get that person to love you, then you have corrected whatever flaw was wrong with you, why the initial parent couldn't attach. Again, none of the attachment issues are your responsibility. They were unfortunately just a side effect of having a parent who just didn't get there. So what you have to do is you have to pay attention to who you date. You have to pay attention to the signs, like if a person isn't calling you back, or on the other hand, if you're with someone who is like emotionally available and giving you the love and sustenance that you should need, but you're just not attracted to them because they're not giving you that dismissal. So you find yourself kind of kicking away the ones who would give you what you wanted and keeping along the same lines of the parent that could not attach. So I would suggest you check your pickers, all right? Look at your world, look at what you date, look at your history, and then compare it to maybe the relationship you had with your parents, all right? That's all for today. I hope this finds you all well. Love and light.
Welcome back to New England Pride TV. Right now I'm here with Sophia and Hayden, and I asked them to be guests on the show today. It was quite a while ago, it was probably a year ago, but I was talking with Sophia and I realized that they had a very important, poignant story to tell. Now we're going to start with the fact that when you were speaking with me, you were telling me that you were not okay at first having a transgender child. Is that correct?
Very correct.
Very correct.
Very correct.
Did it come as a shock to you? Did you have any kind of inclinations that might?
I think for me as being mom,
Yes.
I worried more about the hardships that were going to come for my child than,
That means you're a good mom.
yeah, that was the scary part for me.
Yep.
So if I kept it in denial, then I didn't have to worry about what was
Oh.
going to happen to my child.
Denial is a powerful tool, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now look at you.
Yeah,
You-
now I'm the
you-
biggest supporter.
You are the biggest
I am.
supporter. And what
Yeah.
made you come around to being the biggest supporter?
Well, first of all, he's my child,
Right?
the child that I gave birth to.
I think you just saw that I was happy.
Yeah, it was not a happy child.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had conflict. We would butt heads all the time, and I just couldn't understand why. And I'm going to be real honest, I also
Mm-hmm.
did not feel a bond,
Oh,
even though it was a daughter. I
Yes.
did not feel
yes.
there was something not right. I just didn't know what it was.
And now?
And now our bond is unbelievable. And now that he's who he's supposed to be, it makes it okay. It
makes it
it all
okay.
good. And I know that he's living his happiest life.
Right.
And I need to be there to help him live his happiest life because he's my child.
And you are. Now, in the pre-interview, you said something that really almost made me cry. What was that phrase you used?
A lot of people think of having a transgender child, you have to have a death. You have to mourn the loss of your previous child. And for me, it was the heart that I gave birth to. For 18 years, I nurtured that heart. I instilled all its values into that heart. Now that heart has finally found the right home.
Oh my
And
God,
it's
that's
it's
amazing.
flourishing. Hayden's heart's home. So
Yep.
Hayden's all good. So that
Yep.
makes me all good as mom.
Yep.
So there wasn't a death. We just nurtured it together, and now it's where it belongs.
Evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, now it's where it belongs.
A beautiful evolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you were telling me in the pre-interview about your experience in this college, which, first of all, when did you openly come out as a transgender individual?
I openly came out to my friends and my college friends probably about 3 weeks into my freshman year of college, so the year 2014. I had come out, and I didn't really come out to my family until I came home for like Thanksgiving break. Christmas break was when I started to kind of ease into it a little bit with some people. She was not the first that I told.
Okay.
She was not the first. I
Okay.
came out to my grandmother first, my yaya, and she was very accepting. I just wanted to test the waters. I wanted
Right.
to test the waters because if it kept going bad, it was
Right.
something that I needed to be aware of.
Right.
So I just kind of little by little, just kind of picked them one by one, and I came out that way.
Now, when you were in college, did you belong to any kind of like support groups or anything?
I did not. My college really did not have a prominent support group while I was a freshman. That grew and that changed like throughout my years there because a lot of people like myself pushed for it to
Right.
change. But as a freshman, there wasn't really even places that trans students could go to amend their ID or to select special housing if they
Right.
needed it, things like that. I lived on an all-female floor for my whole freshman year,
Okay.
even after I'd come out. So.
Really? Now, what was coming out in college like?
Very scary, very new, but also very empowering, invigorating. It was really nice to take that control and not be afraid of not having, like a safe place to land because I knew that I was always going to have this dorm room to come home to. It was very powerful, very powerful. However, some members of my community didn't take it as a super powerful thing.
Your classmates?
Yeah, my
Okay.
classmates. And when I came out, I didn't start my hormone replacement therapy until about later in 2015.
Okay.
So I was living on campus for over a year as a pre-testosterone trans man who had female attributes and still looked very androgynous. And I didn't really have a lot of problems then. It was really when I started my physical transition that people
Really?
started to take notice of
Yeah.
me a little bit
Yeah.
and become more outspoken with their views about me. Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah. It was interesting to me too because like I said, I really didn't have a lot of problems my freshman year until I started taking my hormones. Yeah.
Now, do you have any kind of idea why that might be?
I I think it's because people are so afraid of what they can't explain. So when somebody has been in their classes for over a year,
Right.
sitting there, I'm looking the same, I'm sounding the same, and then
Right.
the next few days I come in and my voice is cracking, and then I have the patchy facial
Right.
hair, and then I'm
Yeah.
starting to change. People are uncomfortable sometimes with that, and they don't know how to deal with it because there's no education.
People are uncomfortable
You
with
know?
things they can't like put in a box,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and they could not put it in a box. They could not put it in a box.
Now,
so.
you said when you were a freshman, there were not support groups. And did you help put one in place before you left? And-
Absolutely, yeah. There's a much more prominent LGBTQ plus support group that we have on campus now.
What campus is this?
Curry College.
Curry College.
Yeah,
Okay.
out in Boston. So.
And you are now speaking. You just spoke with Harvard.
I
No.
did.
Yeah.
Yep, I did. I just
What was
spoke with
that like?
them.
What was that about?
Probably one of the best experiences of my life.
Oh,
It was
I
talking
love
about
that.
it was talking about trans healthcare because the healthcare field is just so behind
Yep.
in terms of trans patients. I find that every time I go to a doctor, like I'm the doctor, like I have to educate
You're
people.
telling
like
them
I'm like
what to-
they're
yeah.
like, what do I do with you? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school for it. So it was really nice. It was about 275, 300 people in attendance, all aspiring doctors or medical
Yep,
professionals.
yep.
And it's just important to talk about these things. So when, like I've been kicked out of medical facilities before. Ready Meds, I've been turned away for.
Can you
for
explain that to me,
services.
please?
Absolutely, yeah. I had a sore throat,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to go get it checked out, and my license actually didn't have my new name on it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in my picture, I obviously looked a little bit younger than how I look now, and I showed them my license, and I told them my name.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me my name, and I said Hayden, and my license didn't reflect that, and they asked me why.
Mm-hmm.
And after I had told them that, I was like, here's my situation, and
Mm-hmm.
like, this is why this is this way, this is why this is this way. They asked me to leave.
Just
they asked me to leave.
Out and out asked
Out
you
and
to
out,
leave.
asked me to leave the waiting room while I was sick. Had to go out of the building. Yeah, and it's.
Did they give
know,
a reason?
And no, and unfortunately they don't have to, which is the sad part. Yeah, they don't have to give you a solid reason. You can be fired from your doctor's office still. It's.
All right, I'm totally confused right now. How that's even still
Me too.
yeah,
Allowed.
I am also confused.
Oh my God! You just stunned me. It
Oh,
takes a
yeah.
lot. It takes a lot to stun me.
It was stunning
and you just
too
stunned
when
me,
I had to.
yeah.
I like left there and I was standing
Yeah.
outside and I was like, wow,
I'm sick.
wow.
I got
Mm-hmm.
turned away with no particular reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right after they had discovered the name thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
now you put
scary.
in place so college students can now easily change their.
Yeah, when I asked to change my name on my ID my freshman year, they sent me to disability services because there was nothing in place. And what kind of message does that send? Like,
Right.
So
right.
now there's
Were they able to actually like help you though? Or?
Sort of. It took a long time.
Yeah.
It took a long time, and for everything to get squared away, they really hadn't even had an open. They didn't know where to really house me or like what to write on my stuff. My professors didn't know
Oh wow.
what the right attendance was, so it was really, really difficult. Like sometimes I would have to sit in class and like, even though I had been out for a year and I had facial hair and a deep voice, like my professors would still have my birth name on the attendance and they would call it out in class and I would just like
yeah.
not say here
Yeah.
because she's not here.
Yeah.
And then after class I would have to like scurry over to them and I'm like, hey, look,
Yeah. This
don't
is
mark me absent.
Yeah. Yeah.
like
yeah,
I was
yeah.
here. So things like that, yeah. But now, like the college has a place on the portal for LGBTQ students, especially trans students, to become more comfortable and figure out where to go and things for orientation and things like that. So a lot has changed, but only because a lot has happened.
Now, well, I think in no small part to you and your did you head up a committee, a support group? What did you gather people around and say, hey, we need to do this?
There was so when I got to Curry, there was a diversity committee in place, but it was like very non-active. Like it wasn't, it was there to be there because it had to be there. And I actually sat in. I ended up joining the diversity committee of all these professors and sat in and just like,
This is what we need.
I just kind of went in. I was like,
Okay.
I shouldn't be afraid to use the bathroom. Like if I'm running in between class, I shouldn't have to have my friends stand outside and
Right.
in case. And it was almost like surreal. Like I would have my friends walk with me to the bathroom and they would stand outside. And if I wasn't out in 4 or 5 minutes, they would come in. They would come in to make sure that I was okay. Because that's how life was for a little bit. survival of the fittest, and
you've graduated college.
I have. Yep.
You're now working.
I work with elderly people in the scope of mental health right now.
Bravo.
And I thank you, and I work as a freelance public speaker.
So do you have a website?
Working on it all right now.
Do you have a website domain name yet?
No, not yet. Not
Because
yet.
I
Still
was
in the
going to
works.
plug you.
And I appreciate that.
Are you on Facebook?
I am.
Can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. That's how
Okay.
people have reached out
So
to me.
let's tell camera 2 right there in the middle how they might be able to get a hold of you on Facebook in case there are clubs, there are organizations who might want to hear what you have to say. So
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook at Hayden Lombardozzi, HaydenLombardozzi.
And I'd be very interested to hear one of your talks also. So when you get
Absolutely.
that going, please reach out to me.
Sounds good.
It's been an absolute pleasure talking with both of you
Thank you
today.
for having us.
And congratulations
Thank you.
on being so loving and giving and nurturing, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a hard journey.
It's a long journey,
Right.
a hard journey.
Yeah.
It never ends because you always, like
Right.
the stories you
All
hear,
right. Thank you so much for watching us here on New England Pride TV. We'll be right back with more.
Hey, it's me, Amy T, with another segment of Experimental Comedy Therapy. Most recently, we celebrated Recovery Month, which is extremely personal to me because I just celebrated 100 months of sobriety. Or a little more than 8 years, if you'd like me to do the math. Hey, honey.
Hi, Annie.
I'm going to show you some clips that's going to take you down a very small journey of that from my one-woman show, I'm Crazy Not Stupid, Comedy with No Nuts. If someone you know is struggling with addiction, or if you're struggling with addiction, please feel free to reach out to me so that I can help you find that support or be that support for you. Until next time, this is Amy T with ECT.
I had spent 10 years denying I was an alcoholic. Wow. Like, here I am, I'm in my mid-30s. I had gained more than 60 pounds. I was $62,000 in debt. My car had just been repossessed. And the only things that I had to show for it was isolation, humiliation, and desperation. I had spiraled out of control and became a person that I didn't like, and I didn't know how to change. And there's really not an after that yet. And shortly after that, I had come across this book of Awakenings by Mark Nepo, and I came across this passage, and it's called Instead of Breaking. It says, the glass blower knows, while in the heat of the beginning, any shape is possible. But once hardened, the only way to change is to break. And I just kept playing that over in my head. The only way to change is to break. Monday, I turned 100 months sober. You all should be clapping because I'm no longer drunk driving on the road with you. But I was in a room very much like this. It was packed. There was probably like 90, 100 people. I was already nervous and anxious as it was. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sneak in and observe for the night. Right? I swear to God, I wasn't there 30 seconds, and the only other dyke in the room come running over to me. And she was like, oh my God, Amy T, I love you. I've seen you perform in Boston a bunch of times. I've seen you on TV. I'm such a huge fan. I was like, hey, Marsha, it's Alcoholics Anonymous. There was just too many rules that went along with the program. Like, I just couldn't keep up with them. Like, you can't have certain mouthwashes because they contain alcohol. You can't have certain ice creams because they contain alcohol. And then when they told me I couldn't put Baileys in my morning coffee anymore, I was just like, whoa! One day at a time. As you guys talked about, there's a boat. And there was like 10, 12 of us out on the boat. And we're all laughing and having a good time. And shots are getting passed around. And next thing you know, people started triple kissing. And then more shots started getting passed around. And bathing suit tops started coming off. And I'm just sitting in the back just loving every single second. Because I knew I'd remember it the next day. And my friend Brenda, she's probably 6 foot, 130 pounds, just this tall, lanky thing. Well, she's stumbling around the boat, and the boat hit a wake, and she went overboard. Yeah, I think this is the funniest friggin' thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So her head pops up out of water. She's like, oh, I meant to do that. I said, no, you didn't. I'm pretty sure Captain Morgan just pushed you.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of New England Pride TV. I've learned a lot today. Hopefully you've learned something, and that's what it's all about. And thank you for being our co-host this episode.
thank you so much for having me. You are such an inspiration to so many.
I paid her to say that. We're going to end the show the way we always do by saying, please don't be afraid to shine your light.
Because you might be lighting the way for someone in need.
Until next time, thank you so much for watching New England Pride TV.